we think of adding color to the landscape, we usually think of flowers, but you can add a great deal of color using only foliage. Here at the studio garden, we've planted our bridge garden using plants that are grown mainly for their foliage color. We have a simple arrangement of 5 different species here, and together they have a very striking impact. One that almost immediately draws my eye is this purple heart, Tradescantia pallida. This is a cultivar called purpureum. And this is one of the few plants that has true purple foliage. It's just simply beautiful. It really stands out lovely in the garden. The stems are succulent and they're also fairly erect. So the plant has this interesting habit where it spreads, but it also grows fairly upright. The plant produces attractive flowers as well, but it's really the foliage that steals the show here. This purple heart grows as an annual in Oklahoma. It's only hardy to zone 8, but it quickly spreads and covers any area you give it. And it makes a great backdrop against the begonias. Now, begonias, of course, do produce attractive flowers, but they also have unique foliage that's tinged with red. Other cultivars have different coloration, but this red looks beautiful against the purple here. Another purple plant we have in our garden is the purple fountain grass, Pennisetum cetaceum. This cultivar is called purpureum. This is one of those purples that actually has more of a burgundy foliage, but it's beautiful nonetheless. The tall leaf blades add a great deal of color to the garden. We also have attractive flower spikes this time of year that come in sort of a reddish purple color. Really add a great deal of color to the garden. Another plant that we use for foliage is the Coleus. Because this area receives a lot of sun, we've used a sun-tolerant cultivar. This is called Alabama Sunset. This is an older cultivar that's widely been used for its sun tolerance. Some newer cultivars have been selected that also tolerate sun. This one has a nice brick red and yellow foliage. Now, most of our Coleus are grown in the shade. Coleus is widely used as a bedding plant and also in containers to add a splash of color throughout the garden. The leaves have a textured appearance to them, and they're heavily veined, which adds to the color and interest of the foliage. You're going to find varieties in hues of red, maroon, yellow, pink, and green. So there's really a Coleus for just about every garden. The 5th plant in our bridge garden here is the Hyacinth Bean. This is Lab purpurea. This has nice broad green leaves, which add a little bit of contrast to the color that we've seen throughout here. The plant also produces beautiful flowers in pinks and purples, and these interesting seed pods that are purple. And the stems themselves have the purple color, just very beautiful. You can collect the seeds from the pods in the fall to propagate the plants for next year, because this is an annual vine. But it grows very quickly. As you can see, it's pretty much covered our bridge structure here. You want to make sure to give it a nice strong structure to support it and plenty of room to spread out. Outside of our bridge garden, we also have a variety of plants grown for their attractive foliage. Here we have the sweet potato vine, Ipomoea batata. This cultivar is called Marguerite, and it was an Oklahoma proven selection. This plant is grown for its beautiful chartreuse foliage. Now, this is a true sweet potato related to the type that we eat, but unfortunately its tubers are bitter, so we're not getting a 2-for-1 out of this plant. Doesn't make good eating, but the attractive foliage more than makes up for this. There's several cultivars that are widely grown. In addition to the Marguerite, there's a deep purple foliaged cultivar called Blackie. There's also a cultivar called Tricolor that has pink, green, and white variegated foliage. Now, this plant makes a great ground cover. It grows very quickly, and you might find that you have to trim it back just to keep it in its allotted space. Just to get an idea of how quick it grows, a single plant will more than fill a container. So This is a great ground cover sweet potato vine. We have it growing in our tropical garden, and there's a wide variety of tropical plants that are grown for their attractive foliage, and sometimes they grow to mammoth proportions. This is the Castor Bean, Ricinus communis, and as you can see, this is one season's worth of growth, and it is just gigantic. Has these beautiful pinnate leaves, attractive red stems. Now, tropical plants obviously aren't hardy here in Oklahoma, but this plant produces seeds that you could collect in the fall. You could propagate it from its seeds. So we have a way to bring the castor bean into our next season. Many of our tropical plants do well in the shade. As you can imagine, they are selected from plants that grow under the canopy of trees. Two favorites are the elephant ear, Coleus species, and caladiums. Both of these come in a variety of colors. The elephant ears have some selections with a deep maroon, almost black foliage, and Coleus have a variety of colors. These are often very brightly colored. This cultivar has pink veins, reddish veins, that add to the color against these variegated leaves. You're going to find a range of colors available for these two plants. Now, these can be stored over the winter as bulbs so that you can have them again next spring in your garden. Over here we have a plant that has changed very little since Victorian times when it was widely planted in English gardens. This is the Persian shield, Strobiolanthus dierianus. It produces these beautiful purple and silver foliage. And not only does this plant provide its own color to the garden, but it has a unique trait of reflecting colors around it. So it looks beautiful when it's paired against silver plants like Dusty Miller or Landseer. And it also pairs well with red flowers. This is a versatile plant that you could plant in a bed, or you can also put it in containers. We mustn't forget the grace and beauty that ferns and hostas add to the shade garden. These are two classic foliage plants, and hostas come in a broad palette to match any garden. So whether you're looking for the exotic or something more traditional to color your garden, don't forget about foliage. A world of possibilities awaits you.